What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to I Do It Myself. I'm Wayno. How y'all feeling? I'm saying I'm hoping that y'all having a good day. But before we get started, hit them subs, hit them likes, run up that hype. There's not many people that I would want to have a problem with in this world. One person I definitely never would want to have a problem with, never want to be on their bad side is 50 Cent. That nigga don't care if it's your birthday, if you just had a death in your family, if you going through something mentally, you know what I mean, spiritually or financially. He is going to find a way to pick you apart, or he's going to find a way to turn you into promotion. I think that a lot of people that 50 gets into it with, they might think it's personal, but it's not. See, the thing about 50 is that he has an unconventional way of promoting himself, and we seen that shit from day one. He will always make it about somebody else. Today, we talking about 50 and Marlon Wayans. We got 3 weeks left in the year. Who the hell knew that Marlon Wayans, before the year was out, going to get into it with 50 Cent? Now, the documentary, The Reckoning of Diddy, is out. People been watching it. People been reacting to it. We covered that over here on this channel. You know what I'm saying? And Marlon, who has a relationship with Diddy, you know what I mean, have known him for years. He said he went to college with him. He was asked on a J. Cruz show. Shouts out to J. Cruz. You know what I'm saying? Good brother right there. He was asked how he felt about the situation concerning the documentary. And we're going to go through a few of these clips. And we're going to talk about it because Marlon, from that point on, Marlon got into it with 50 Cent. Here's the first clip.
Hey, are you going to watch the Diddy documentary?
Eventually, but you know, I look, man, I'm not gonna keep throwing the dude under the bus, man, and serving time in prison. You know, I know Diddy, I know his kids. You know, it must be hard for them. You know what I mean? At a point, you know what I'm saying, like on a human level, I just go, all right, man, we did it. I'm Diddy'd out.
I feel him, but at the same time, man, you niggas got to start using their Miranda rights when it comes to doing interviews. You got the right to remain silent about certain things. Because get this, right? It is a close relationship to some extent. They've known each other for years. So the way that he views him is going to be different than anybody and everybody else. They probably been, and keep in mind, we talking about a Wayans. That is a family legacy that people have wanted to be around in entertainment for years. You feel me? So I'm pretty sure their families have spent time around one another. So he's going to be extremely careful with how he answers this question. But the fact of the matter is this. Right now, Diddy is everybody's favorite punching bag. And niggas is kicking him. And the reason why they kicking him is not just because he's down. They kicking him because they seen him kick a woman while she was down, literally on the floor. They seen the cover-ups. Excuse me. They seen the cover-ups. They've heard the stories. We got witness testimony. We got finger pointing. We got evidence. And now we got a documentary. So the level of empathy that used to exist before we seen any of these things is out the window. You know what I mean? It's totally out the window. Now, here's Marlon talking more about the situation.
We diddied it. We diddied it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, look, how much more he's already incarcerated. How much further under the bus do you throw, man? Right now,
You're closer to it than people realize, I think.
And we ain't that close.
Not close.
Say that into the camera.
We ain't baby all close.
Nah, you stupid.
But yo, look, Puff is
Nah. You working with
I've known
Pac?
Puff for 30 years.
You saw Big before he passed?
Yeah.
Bro, so you're close. And Jack, what were you saying
And
about that?
I went to college with Puff.
Hang on. What were you saying?
I knew Diddy when he was Puffy.
Okay.
In the documentary, there was insinuations of, you know, that Diddy possibly had something to do with both Tupac and Biggie. And, you know.
Who's telling the story, right? You can skew.
People very close to the situation.
But you can skew. You can create any narrative as a producer and as a director and as a storyteller. I can create a narrative. I could be like, you know what?
You have?
I could create a narrative.
Well,
I could be
we
like,
see it all the time in reality shows. Like,
Nah,
on reality
that's right.
shows,
yeah,
that's how
you're
they're creating
creating
right
a
a
narrative.
character.
It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's true. I can get interviews. I can do this. I can get footage. And I could make you think this about that person.
Nah, for sure, yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So for me, you know, I think, look, 50 and Puff have a long-term beef. It's personal. It's
Well,
between.
people are saying 50's wrong for doing it, but 50's right for doing it.
You could definitely rally people up and get them all on one side or the other, depending upon how popular you are, how much influence you got, how many bots you use, you feel me? How much money you willing to spend. But also keep in mind that while not everybody, but a lot of people do have objective opinions about the whole shit with Diddy in its totality, there's stuff that we seen that just was bad. So I think like Marlon had a great opportunity to reserve his right to say, I know I'm here to talk, but I don't know if I'm gonna talk too much on that. Now he also telling his truth, which that man got the right to vent. He got the right to say what he want. But keep in mind, when you talking about something that 50 got going on, that nigga is watching like this. And I don't think it's just him. 50 definitely has a social team because his social media is like he's his own entity on social media, right? Now the whole thing with like the Big and Pac shit, you know, Keefy D and that shit was bound to just go bad. We talking about a story from over 30 years ago that's still like kind of unsolved in different ways. There's a lot of players. The shit kind of reminds me of a ghetto version of JFK story. You know what I mean? By how it was so many hands in the pot and some destruction that you don't really know who to point the finger at. You know what I'm saying? And then they dropped the blame on Oswald. Who's the Oswald, you know what I mean, in this situation with Biggie and Pac. Another story for another day. All right. Let's go through a little bit more of what Marlon had to say.
And before it's between him and Puff, it's between both of them and God. Just the way Puff is down on his luck and 50's kicking a man when he's down.
God is gonna.
If 50 ever luck turn up on 50, you know, that you got to be careful what you put out.
I'm one of them people that have a firm belief in what goes around does not always come around. I've been living long enough and I've been around so many bad people that I can honestly say a lot of times bad people get away unscathed. You feel me? So for him to say what 50 put out and what he could possibly get back from this and that and the third, I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that because I feel like we talking about filmmaking, whether you agree with it or not. We talking about filmmaking. 50 is an executive producer on the situation. The conversation around it is black man tears other black man down. Y'all ain't talking about none of the white people that produced it. Y'all ain't talking about the ethnic background and none of the other people that worked on this. This is a production. This is not some shit that he sat on Final Cut Pro and put everything together himself and edited it together himself. He's a face and a name to push the said product. Now, whether you agree with the product or not, that's what it is. But he's a face in the shit. There's tons of producers that put this together. And keep in mind, I think that this is also a culmination of Diddy having bad blood with people and doing people wrong. You feel me? Like, let's keep that in mind. He also had his attorney, you know what I mean? He was talking to his attorney on camera. And his attorney on camera, like, there's a certain level of privilege that is attorney-client privilege, you feel me, that the client is supposed to reserve. But at the same time, he put his attorney out there to look crazy. You feel me? Now listen, attorneys, you could argue that they're some of the most snakish people that's out there, especially in these situations, but it's not for the world to see. But the thing about it was he was recording that. That was Diddy's footage that ended up on a documentary that he probably just ain't paid for the footage. This is the last thing from Marlon, and then we gonna go through the whole cycle, the shit that they going back and forth, they playing tennis or you know what I mean, ping pong with on the internet.
Every action that you do.
You think we'll see that day?
Huh?
You think we'll see that day?
I don't think 50 does dumb stuff. You know, he's very smart, you know, in terms of his business. I think he already had his.
I think we already would have saw it.
He got shot 9 times. He paid his debt early. So that's why he's like, F it. But, you know, look, this is between him and Puff, and honestly, it's between both of them and God.
Yeah.
So, you know, only God can judge, and both of them people have time to sit with God and talk about and through everything. And right now is Puff's time to sit there and have a conversation, a much-needed conversation with God. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, I know his kids, I know his family, I know 50. You know, I've seen Tupac and Biggie, both friends of mine, die for beef. I think we all need to learn our lessons. And at a point, you're going to keep one-upping each other until the beef gets so out of hand that lives are at stake. And that's when you've crossed the line. And at a point, now it's no holds bars and bare knuckle boxing. When Puff come out, he going to probably have the 50 Cent documentary
Nah,
ready.
you should let it
Someone's
go.
working on it now.
No,
You should let it go. Nah, that's revenge.
I
Right?
haven't
Like,
seen. Yeah, but both of this is all. You know, it's coming from a
it's
place
deeper
of-
than rap, I think, too.
I think it's personal. I think it's between
it's
them
personal.
two. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they beef is. I mean, you know,
Well, business, who knows, right? Stuff that we didn't get to see.
I ain't in their business. All I know is, you know, my name is in it.
I mean, yeah, it's personal on some sort of level. You know what I mean? Like, Puff had 50 baby moms in the freak-offs. You know what I'm saying? Who knows if she was supposed to have a son that day? It might come from that. Or it might just come from 50 not liking you. You know what I'm saying? That's where it might come from. Now, listen, I want to just point out the fact that Marlon is a great. You know what I mean? He's a great in entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Great actor, comedian, and all that. But in the court of public perception, you know what I mean? Consistency is the winner.
Those aren't the type of parties that I go to. I don't frequent those type of parties, and even if I go, like I said, been doing Diddy parties for 15 years, and I must say you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Good times, people. I've never seen any of this. I'm like, when I hear about it, when did that happen?
Now, these niggas been going back and forth for a couple of days or whatever. So first off, your man 50, he puts up a picture of Marlon and white chicks, and it says, "Keep my name out your mouth, boy." Now, the thing about this is I don't think you could ever use white chicks as a diss to Marlon. He put that shit on. He made a movie out of it. It was a cult classic. Like, I don't think people look at white chicks and be like, oh, man, what a horrible time in life. People laugh at that. That's not nothing to diss Marlon with. You know what I mean? And then the corny comeback was Marlon putting up a Photoshop picture of 50 with 12 years a slave. And he said, let's talk about this, 50. I mean, bro, these two joints was corny. You feel me? Now, the thing about this is, like I said, man, the shit goes further. It keeps going further. Now, this is something that Marlon did. He dressed up, you know what I mean, with no shirt on. Marlon had to lose a fucking bet. Now, granted, he said, I believe his son is part of the LGBTQ plus community, and he wanted to show love to his son, so he did this. I'm going to be the one to tell y'all right now, if my children, I have 3 of them, were ever a part of the community, as much as I love my kids, as much as I support my kids, I'm not never going into a humiliation ritual like some shit like this. I feel like you can honestly show love for and support your kids without laying in a tub with some silver pants on with no shirt, a rainbow umbrella, and a bathtub full of rainbow balls. No pause. We ain't gotta pause that. Nigga look ridiculous. Let's just keep it 1,000. You posted a Photoshop picture of 50. And this nigga took a real picture of you. Now, like I said, much love to the community. Some of y'all watch me. Some of y'all, you know what I mean, pay attention to what it is that we do over here, and I love y'all for that. You know what I mean? Ain't no beef. But listen, what's so funny is, I'm gonna keep it 100, yo, and don't get it twisted, because a lot of LGBTQ plus people is niggas from the hood too. Y'all act like y'all don't joke on people for doing gay shit. Like as if y'all don't use it as a diss. Y'all know that shit looks silly. Like, come on. Y'all know that shit looks silly, right? Now, he also posted this picture of Jay-Z. Like, somebody did a painting of Jay-Z, and this shit said, "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not gonna post it," right? Hey, come on, you know 50 is always gonna play them games or whatever, but at the same time, see, this is where Jay wins, because he just doesn't get on social media, right? He doesn't post nothing, so it doesn't really matter to him. You know what I mean? Then he posts a picture, it says, you know what I mean, "My little sex worker," or "a little sex worker doing it big, get him, baby," right? Next to the Netflix logo. Now, you would ask or want to know why all of these things happen. And sometimes accidents happen and sometimes people get hurt. And I want to tell y'all, if you ever end up in an accident, you ever end up hurt, make sure that you call Morgan & Morgan. If you want to be the best rapper, you got to have the best bars. Just like Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They gotten over $25 billion with more than 500,000 clients. And the results speak for themselves. A client in Pennsylvania got $29 million after being offered only $500,000. Another client in Florida got $20 million after being offered $0. Morgan & Morgan been fighting for the people for over 35 years. It's like hiring a legal army that's always going to ride for you. If you get injured by somebody else's negligence, then you deserve to be paid. Not all law firms is created equal. Hiring the wrong one could cost you. If you get injured, you could check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. Now that we got that out the way, let's talk about the business of the whole situation. Now, of course, 50 is always attaching whatever he's doing to a product. He's a hustler, he's a salesman. I Get Money is not just a song, it's a lifestyle that this nigga been pushing for the longest, right? Like from you hear his stories about him hustling back in Southside Jamaica, Queens, to running the same exact story over and over and over. I tell people all the time, Power, or matter of fact, Raising Canaan is a derivation of 50's life. If you ever read his book, From Pieces to Weight, then you would know that that's just his story, maybe exaggerated. You feel me? From everything with his moms, Rocky being his moms and all of that, to the story that we heard in the end. Cool. But let's talk about the business of what 50 is doing. He posts this as well. Stranger Things earns 23.6 million views in week 2, while Sean Combs' The Reckoning has hit 21.8 million views in its first 6 days. See, here's the thing, man. I don't think the shit with Marlon is personal at all. 50 understands how to use and work the algorithm, and he's going to bend that shit to his rule. You see how he said creating narratives? Because the thing is that he makes Marlon look a little bit, let's not say upset, but he has him explaining himself on in a serious tone and shit.
I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject, period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain, use your freedom of thought, your freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully you. Never. Don't let nobody bully you. You got me? Love. Now back to trolling this troll.
And that's just it right there. You feel me? That's just it. That's the end of it. Yo, what y'all think though? What y'all think? I'm gonna keep it 100. 50's whole spiel is, I set the trap just to let dude react. That's a Jay-Z bar, him going at Nas. Now you can't leave, you know what I mean? The whole scene from The Bronx Tale where he locks you in that room. When he locks you in that room, he's getting free promo because everybody's tuning in to see why they're even going back and forth. And you want to know why? Because of The Reckoning. That's just it. This is I Do It Myself. For the ones that rock with me, you know how we doing. For the ones that don't, eventually will. I will catch you on the next one. Peace. This is an idea that was in my mind, and then I communicated it to the person who does my logos, and I told him, and we got this. Then it went from me having a logo to put on my channel to me actually having product, and that's why I'm doing this. And then we got the Family First edition, is to basically solidify that blood makes you related. A bond makes you family, you feel me? And with this Family First piece, when you get one of these, just know that when I start doing this live, if you purchase the Family First piece, then that gives you perks at the live show. You know what I mean? You might get a discount on the tickets, all that. So my whole idea for doing this, man, was to just inspire others that if you have an idea, if you have a thought, If you have something, you know, that you're working on or want to work on, and you might be frightened about it, you might be, you know, second guessing or doubting yourself, don't. Just do it. You know what I mean? I'll do it myself.